Hey everybody, Icy Cat here. The final big piece of the puzzle for Operation Chimera has finally dropped. Outbreak is now revealed in all of its glory. We've got gameplay, information, full details on everything you can expect in this new way to play the game.
Maybe she has a vaccine. Maybe she has a cure. Maybe I can stop working in a quarantine tent that's lined with claymores and C4.
You're a humanitarian, and I'm not sure you can afford to be.
You have a better option on the table? Because we're barely containing this. And I hope you have a solution that doesn't involve a nuclear response. I heard the talk.
Okay. Let's try it your way. Let's extract Dr. McIntosh and pray to God she's got answers we can use.
Merci.
So with this reveal, Ubisoft was not screwing around. They actually opened with several pieces of orchestral music played live at the invitational event. I mean, this was just a whole new caliber of presentation for them. Very well done all around. Then they get into the mode. They sit down and play this, and we're just going to have this kind of going in the background as we talk about all the information that we have here. So for those of you that don't know, that maybe have been living under a rock, Outbreak is a 3-player co-op mode. Why 3-player? They said they wanted to keep it claustrophobic in feel, have that more kind of an intimate setting where it's, everything is more dependent on heavier teamwork. Spreading it across 5 players would keep things a little less intimate, a little less dramatic, and they wanted to really heighten that feeling of being a small group holding off against these hordes of enemies. One of the first things you'll notice is that we have attackers and defenders working together, and that is an important thing. This is a new way to experience this gameplay. So you have members of these CTUs cooperating, and that's a really interesting dynamic. You'll also notice that there's a new attachment for this mode, flashlight attachments. So you can put these on and light up dark areas. However, it comes with a drawback. You will attract attention of enemies when you do so and can trigger them out of a passive state into an active state. They also respond to sound, but light will be a key factor in that as well. Now, for those of you asking, will flashlight attachments be coming to the main PvP side of the game? The answer to that is almost certainly no. They would have to introduce completely new lighting mechanics to the PvP mode and really fundamentally change the way the game plays. I can almost guarantee you that that is not going to happen. But for this mode, it is something that they wanted to introduce and creates an entirely new dynamic. So they talk about the fact that stealth is actually a viable approach in this game mode, more so than it is in Terrorist Hunt. In that mode, they react a little bit differently, but they've set up so the AI has a different kind of a sort of a looping setup where they go. Because the levels in this mode are so much bigger, having that quiet approach to a section will, even if you blow it and then you wind up going loud, it's not going to trigger an alert to the rest of the enemies in the map because it's such a big map. The enemies are so spread out, and you have these like sections where you fight off a group of them, and then maybe you have a quieter section, so by the time you get to that next section, that it's not going to be like, already all prepared for you to be coming in. So there's definitely areas where you're going to be able to move through quietly and take advantage of that. And as I mentioned, many of the enemy types have a 2-state awareness where they're kind of like a passive awareness, and then where they become active and they get triggered. And that's in response to things like gunfire, or if they hear you, maybe you're running around or making noise, maybe they catch your flashlight attachment, they'll cue onto those kinds of things, and they'll go from that passive stance to an active stance. Now, even though the maps in this mode are huge, and we're talking an order of magnitude bigger, we still have the fully destructible walls and surfaces. Of course, not every wall is going to be, but there is just a lot of stuff that can be destroyed. Not just by you, but also by the zombie alien hybrids. They can also make use of destruction, so they'll rip down barricades and come at you, they'll tear through furniture, they'll explode open walls, all kinds of stuff to get at you. Even reinforcement walls. So this is a mode where you can also use reinforcements. They mix the modes up a little bit so that you have these like new reinforcement drop boxes. So the attackers can make use of putting up reinforcement panels for the first time, which is really interesting. This allows you to kind of set up these defensive positions when you mix the attackers and defenders together and kind of create that synergy that's always been sort of missing when you play one mode versus the other in Terrorist Hunt. Of course, those reinforcement walls can also be taken down by the exploding aliens, and let's talk about those different types that we have. So our first two are grunts and breachers. They're sort of like the run-of-the-mill zombie type, and then when their active defenses are triggered, they'll protrude the spikes from them and they'll charge at you. There are a lot of these guys, and they're sort of like your standard default creature. A step up from that are the breachers. So these guys, they tend to run around on all fours, almost dog-like. They seem to also kind of be able to kind of run up walls and ceilings and things like that. And they have these spikes with these bubbly things on their back, which are filled with a chemical compound which will explode surfaces. So they can come through walls, and this is the one you're going to want to be really careful of because they can make short work of any of your reinforcement panels if you're set up in a defensive position, or they'll just explode through other surfaces and try to come at you, or even just come in and close the range and detonate in your face. You do have the ability to fend off a charging breacher, though, if you're worried that he's going to explode as soon as he comes into contact with you. If you time a melee bash correctly, you'll knock him back and stagger him a little bit, then you can finish him off for the kill. We do have some really cool new knife animations to go with it too. So we have the standard like rifle butt knockback, and then also just a completely savage new animation for doing a knife attack. It's really cool. Now going into some of the other creature types, they actually get harder from there. So we've got the rooters, and these are the guys that they have the ability to sort of burrow down into the ground and then come up again someplace else. It's not exactly teleportation, but I mean, it kind of works like that. And they have the ability to do some things. First of all, they have a lot more hit points than the other creature types have so far. They can kind of send out like this, like, spiky, thorny root growth that will sort of ensnare you and keeps you trapped. And until you then get rid of it, you're kind of stuck there, and hopefully your teammates can help you out or whatever. But its purpose is to sort of ensnare you and slow you down. It's going to be hard to finish them off, though, because they're going to be digging down and coming back up someplace else. And with a lot of hit points that they have, these are just some really tough guys to deal with. Next up is the Smasher. This guy is pretty much the Hulk. He's a sort of a juggernaut type creature, and he has a weak spot, and it's actually on the back. In his spine, there's a soft tissue area, and if you can do damage to him there, you'll inflict a lot more damage a lot more quickly. But this guy is going to be charging at you. He's got tons of hit points, tons of armor. He's going to take a lot of damage to drop. He can bash through walls to get at you, bash through furniture. I mean, he will send you flying if he makes contact with you and do a significant amount of damage. This is one big bruiser you're going to want to stay out of the way of. And then finally, we have the Apex. So these guys are sort of like the leadership cast. They have a powerful ranged attack. It's almost like some kind of like a psionic energy that they kind of shoot out at you and keep you at a distance. When this stuff hits you, it will cloud up your vision with sort of like that spiky growth that you see all over the place. It does fade away after a moment, but it just kind of makes things a little extra harder to deal with while it's happening. Additionally, what makes these guys tough is not only do they have a lot of hit points, but they can also summon additional creature types to assist them in the fight. So while you're fighting off these guys, they're just creating more and more enemies around you to deal with, and it's going to make a big fight that you have to get through. There's going to be a ton of enemies on the map. It was at one point said during the live stream that there could be around 150 enemies in a given map, which is a big step up from like the 20 to 30 that you might see on your average terrorist hunt. So some other things that we noticed that are different in this mode versus terrorist hunt mode. First of all, no drones. The attacking operators don't have drones. Of course, neither do the defenders, so it doesn't seem like you can make any use of camera positions in that regard. As mentioned before, attackers do actually have the ability to throw up some reinforcements to protect themselves with, and they do have this cool, unique color. They're actually a different color. They're not the red reinforcement panels. They're sort of like this yellowy green, more yellowish reinforcement panel type that we see here, and those will go up, and attackers can also deploy those when they get to those drop boxes. In addition to that, the actual wooden barricades that can be put up have, instead of that standard yellow X on them, they have more of like this, Outbreak biohazard sort of symbol on them, so that those are specific to this mode too. In addition to the reinforcement drop boxes, there's also a couple of other types. Of course, we have the ammo drop boxes that we're used to seeing in Terrorist Hunt to refill your ammo, but there was also a health refill station at one point, so you probably are going to be coming across these every so often to sort of keep you going through the next section. And with hordes of zombie aliens coming at you and over 150 enemies in a map, I mean, you might be needing these from time to time because they're definitely going to be dealing out some damage for you. So now let's talk a little bit about the maps. So we have 3 maps. There's going to be Resort, and this is going to be sort of like a bomb mode. And I mean, when we're doing these, they're not necessarily just like one dedicated mode. That's just sort of like the big part of that phase. So there's going to be a bomb mode within Resort. Then there's Hospital. That is going to have a hostage rescue sort of extraction situation in it that you're going to fight to get to. And then there's going to be Junkyard. And this is sort of like where the epicenter of everything initially took place. This is where the capsule crashed, and then like the mutations of this alien zombie hybrid stuff and the parasite came out of it. And so you have to actually fight your way back to that central like ground zero and then take that out. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of a boss fight there or exactly what the deal is going to be, but that sounds really interesting. We also got a chance to see that the maps are listed as like having a part 1 or a part 2, so these could be some multifaceted maps that are just going to be really big in size. So in regard to those difficulty modes, we've got 2 of them. There's normal and pandemic. So normal is pretty much what you're going to expect to see. You know, the enemies aren't going to be too tough. You're going to be able to deal decent damage. There won't be any friendly fire. Kicking things up a notch, however, to pandemic mode is going to increase the difficulty substantially. Friendly fire is definitely a thing there. Enemies definitely have a lot more hit points, and you will also receive more damage from them because they're going to be stronger. Also, the special archetypes will spawn as more of a mix in this mode, so you're going to be seeing just more of those higher level enemies in this versus when you're in normal. Now, there's an interesting thing that they talk about here. They have something called events, and these are mini moments in the game with higher difficulty enemies. Some of these are pre-planned out. There's maybe some kind of a scripted cutscene that will sort of trigger when a creature will come barreling out of some specific object, you know, whether it's behind some kind of a building or through some kind of a vehicle or whatever. Those are pre-planned events. Then there's other ones that like an event will get triggered, but how it sort of plays out is a little bit more procedural, and things will happen more reacting to whatever it is that you're doing. So you have like scripted events, and then you have procedural events that are triggered by a specific script, but once they get going, then it's sort of a mix of whatever might happen. So as you play the game, you're going to have these mixtures. You know, you're going to be playing something where you have a low density enemy area. Maybe you can navigate that with stealth or go through it quickly. Then you're going to have a very small section that is maybe kind of quiet and there's not much going on, and you're building the drama and the tension. And then you escalate something into like a big horde comes, or, you know, some kind of special enemies to deal with, and, you know, some kind of big fight there. And then you'll kind of mix things down again to another section. It's like this constant like wave where it's riding that between having these high rushes and then these like lower, more claustrophobic, intense moments. This mode is also going to come with special Ubisoft Club rewards. They have something called challenges, and they're going to be trying to do these about once per week. Again, this is a 4-week event. And these are going to be for special charms and skins. There's also exclusive cosmetics. And we also know that there are going to be the exclusive Outbreak packs, which are different from the alpha packs. These will be purchasable only for 300 rainbow credits. You can't get them with any renown. You can't grind for them that way. There will be some kinds of things that you can get for playing the mode. We don't know how many or what those will be yet. Additionally, everybody that plays the mode will get a few free Outbreak packs. And if you purchase a new version of the game, as long as it's not the starter edition, you'll also get 10 free Outbreak packs that will be included in that. So there's a lot of cosmetic options here. However, they are blind open, so you never know exactly what it is you're going to get. Any given Outbreak pack might contain a skin or a uniform or a headgear or a charm, and you really don't know what you're going to be getting until you open it up. As mentioned before, this is a specific event that lasts for 4 weeks. It starts on March 6th and it goes for a month. It is free for everyone that plays the game. You don't have to play this if you don't want to. If you think aliens and zombies have no place in Rainbow Six and this is absolutely silly, you don't have to play it. There's absolutely nothing in here that you have to do. If you're a part of the technical test server or have access to that, you will be able to get your hands on this mode a little bit early, as that starts February 20th. Now, when I do these videos on Outbreak, there does seem to be a little bit of confusion, so I'll let everybody know right off the bat, because this question comes up so frequently. The 2 new operators, Lion and Finca, can be played in this mode, but they are not limited to the 4-week event. So Outbreak, the maps that you can play with this special alien zombie hybrid thing, is only available for 4 weeks. The 2 new operators, Lion and Finca, are part of Operation Chimera itself, and they are around as part of the permanent roster edition. I get that question a lot, so just going to straighten that out right off the bat. The 2 new operators are not tied to the 4-week event. They are a permanent addition to the game. So this looks to be really exciting. Now, tomorrow we are going to be getting the full patch notes for Operation Chimera. When that drops, I will be breaking all of that information down for you. There's going to be a ton more in there than what's been revealed in the Invitational so far. They always have a lot of extra information, so we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Additionally, the technical test server will be going live, so I'll be trying to get you information on that, and we'll be taking a look at the new Outbreak mode and just seeing the way everything plays. There's going to be a lot of new content coming up very rapidly here, so if you want to make sure that you're up to date on all the latest, please do like and subscribe. Also, make sure you click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as I upload new content. Additionally, be sure to follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.